love spell.
I was just 17. Sweet 17, I suppose you could say. I really liked a boy a few doors down from me. I wanted him to notice me and be attracted to me, just like what happened to the girl in a story I read in a magazine for teens. She bought some love crystals as she too had a crush on a boy, and for her, within a week of wearing a rose quartz crystal, the boy she fancied approached her. That story had a happy ending, and I wanted the same. Luckily, there's a little boutique in my town that sells all sorts of goods crafted by locals. I went there to buy a rose quartz crystal necklace. I was so surprised by the number of different quartz and gem bracelets and necklaces they sold. Luck, love, wealth. You name it, they had a gem bracelet or necklace for it. I picked up a necklace and a matching bracelet. They had rose quartz, moonstone, and jade stones, which I loved as the jade matched my green eyes. I spotted a book section as I looked around the shop. One book stood out, The White Witch's Book of Spells. Flicking through the pages of the book, I spotted a love potion, but what got me to buy the book was the love spell. I noticed that I needed candles, herbs, some rose petals and crystals for the spell to work. Things we already had at home. I was excited to get back home. I took the book along with the jewelry to the checkout. The lady at the counter was tall, thin, with raven black hair. A grin formed at the corner of her mouth as she took my money. It made me wonder if she knew what was on my mind, what I was going to use the book for. I don't know why, but I had an urge to look back as I was walking away from the store. I resisted for a few more steps as I was keen to get home and back to my bedroom to read the spell book. The urge got the better of me. Without stopping, I turned and looked back. The lady from the store was standing at the doorway, staring at me. Her lips were moving as if she were whispering something. I wondered who she was talking to. No one else was in the store. I rushed up to my bedroom as soon as I got home. I didn't want my parents to see the spell book. I didn't want to explain why I bought it. I wanted to find out what ingredients I needed for the spell, hoping I did have everything at home so I could cast the spell that night when everyone was asleep. I had candles, rose petals, thyme, and crystals. Nearly everything I needed for the spell, except the spell called for a photograph or a strand of hair from the person I intended to enchant. The book explained that the spell would be more potent if I had a strand of hair, but a photo would suffice. With a personal item, the enchantment would know exactly who to charm, but without one, it would weave its magic to make anyone fall in love with me. I needed to wait. I didn't want just anyone to fall in love with me. I wanted James, a boy I've had a crush on for such a long time. I decided it would be easier to get a photo of him than a strand of hair. He had a part-time job in a game store in the center of town. I hatched a plan to visit the store to try and sneak a photo on my phone and get it printed. That night, I fell asleep with the spell book under my pillow, still wearing my necklace and bracelet. I was reluctant to take them off. I wanted their magic to work sooner. I wanted James. I dreamt. James was in it. He was playing with a friend near the rail crossing. It was a dark, foggy dream. I was there, standing, watching from a distance. James stood out, even through the fog, with his blonde hair and the varsity jacket he always wore. He was with another boy, tall, thin, with dark hair. Did I know him? They were on the other side of the rail crossing. A horn from a train sounded, and a light appeared down the track, moving towards us fast. James and the other boy ran across the track, but the tall, thin boy fell. James was beckoning him to get off the track. His foot was trapped. The horn sounded again, and the light grew bright. I woke abruptly in a cold sweat, my heart pounding, clutching my necklace. I wondered if I shouted out loud in my sleep. I was shaken by my dream, my nightmare. Lying back down to sleep, my mind started racing. Why was I clutching my necklace? Were the crystals working? Why did I have a nightmare? Who was the other boy? Was it someone James knew, Why did it feel so real? After a broken sleep and a half-eaten breakfast, I started to walk into town. The railroad crossing had been on my mind all night, and I needed to satisfy my curiosity. I had to visit the railroad crossing before going to the game store. As I approached it, I stopped. I stopped exactly where I was standing in my dream. Of course, no one was there. Not James or the other boy. I dared to go closer. I wanted to see the track close up. I wanted to see where the boy got trapped. There was something out of place beside the signal post, something I didn't expect to see. Right there by the post was a vase. The vase held some old dried roses. I took a step back in shock and gasped in realization. It was a small memorial. I was shocked, upset, sad, and confused at the same time. I stepped back some more. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I almost cried. But before my emotions got the better of me, I turned and walked away. My focus turned back to the game store. I needed to see James. Not that I had the courage to talk to him. I just need to get that picture. I made it into town and reached the game store. I stood outside, building up my courage to go in, and checked my phone was to hand. It was. I was ready. I was about to step forward into the store when I had a feeling of being watched. I turned around, and diagonally across the street was the tall, thin, dark-haired lady standing at the doorway of the boutique, looking at me, whispering under her breath. And through the window, it looked like someone else was in the shop, except it seemed like it was just a shadow of someone. I stood watching her for a few seconds, as if in a trance. My necklace suddenly felt heavy around my neck. I clutched it. I closed my eyes to break contact and snap myself out of the trance. My focus turned back to James and the photo. I stepped into the game store. A huge grin spread across my face upon seeing James. He was so handsome. His blonde hair was a mess, and he was wearing his red varsity jacket with jeans and sneakers. The shop was busy. James was busy too, serving and talking with customers. I pretended to look around, hardly taking my eyes off him. I picked up a game and pulled out my phone. I pretended to take a photo of the information on the back of the game case, but I had zoomed in on James and snapped a photo. The store had one of those instant photo printing machines. I connected my phone to it, and within minutes I was holding a 6x4-inch gloss picture of James. Another huge grin spread across my face as I held the photo to my chest and my necklace. I finally had everything needed for the spell. Delighted, I turned to walk out of the store, thinking about tonight and casting the spell. From the corner of my eye, I thought I caught a glimpse of James, looking at me, smiling at me. My head dropped, still grinning, feeling shy, feeling excited at the same time. I started to walk the short journey home. I glanced across at the boutique again. The lady in the shop was serving a customer. I could see her through the window. Beside her, behind the counter, was a shadow. As I continued to walk, the lady in the boutique shot me a glance from inside the shop. I quickly looked away and continued to walk home. With my hand in my pocket, I held onto the photo of James. I didn't want to crush it. I couldn't wait for nighttime. I couldn't wait for everyone to fall asleep. Eventually, they did. I sat on my bedroom floor with a round dish in front of me. Following the instructions in the spellbook, I placed the candle in the middle of the dish, surrounded by rose petals and thyme. Instead of loose rose crystals, I placed my bracelet around the candle. I didn't want to break it open. The book said that my intentions needed to be clear for the spell to work. In my head and my heart, I needed to know what I wanted and say it out loud, over and over, whilst lighting the candle, and then placing the personal item on the dish. I thought for a moment, then with a lighter in one hand and James's photo in the other, I lit the candle and quietly spoke out loud. I want James to notice me and fall in love with me. As I repeated the chant, I placed James's photo on the dish. As I spoke the words for the third time, out of nowhere the candle flared wildly, casting strange shadows on the wall, spitting out burning hot wax, which splashed onto the photo curling the edges and blackening out James. I clutched my necklace. The gemstones felt cold, which sent a shiver down my spine. I hurriedly blew out the candle. Did the spell work? Did it go wrong? Either way, I was scared. I picked up the blackened photo of James. I sat looking at it, my heart pounding. What had I done? Suddenly, the glass of my bedroom window clinked. Had someone just thrown a pebble at my window? I got up and nervously looked out. Standing at the end of our driveway stood a tall, thin, dark shadow. The shadow looked up at me, whispered my name, Amy, and held out a vase of black roses.